My name is Peace Okesheola. I'll be presenting the memorandum by Lawyers Alert. By Lawyers Alert. Uh, I would say that Lawyers Alert is in full support of the memorandum. Just to clarify, our memorandum is targeted at the the bill HB 2298, which is for the provision of the TB-based discrimination, prevention, and protection and protect the fundamental human rights and dignity of people living with and affected by TB. Honorable Chairman Sir, our memorandum addresses 8 issues, and most importantly, it addresses the issue that has to do with balancing human rights and public health. I would say that the challenge, as read in the opening remarks of the Honorable Chairman, mentioned that the bill needs to balance the public interest and human rights. That's public health. So we propose that in the bill that is being considered by this Honorable House, the bill should expressly recognize that TB control requires a careful balance between the protection of individual rights and legitimate needs to safeguard public health and persons affected by TB. We also recommend that there should be an inclusion in the bill that is being considered by this House, that to provide for issues where there will be involuntary isolation of persons affected by TB. However, when such instances arise, this decision should be subject to an authorized court and upon presentation of medical evidence, and also there should be reasonable provision for for the medical care and nutrition support for the persons affected by TB. We believe that the inclusion of this section into the present bill will help balance out the need for addressing public safety in terms of isolation, and also balance the issue of rights of persons affected by TB. Also, an issue that is also addressed by our memorandum is with regards to sections 10, 24 and 25 of the bill, which allows for enforcement and accountability. We see that that section clearly gives the right or on issues of redress to the Ministry of Justice. We are proposing that aside the Ministry of Justice, the National Human Rights Commission, probably a department or a unit of the National Human Rights Commission, should also be mandated to bear the burden of addressing issues of human rights violations associated with the. Also, our memorandum addressed another issue that has to do with access to justice and legal remedies for victims affected by TB. We note that sections 26 and 27 of the bill allows for victims to commence civil actions in cases of right violations. We also know that this might in a way affect legal access to legal remedy, because of the costs involved, might in a way affect the rights of persons affected by TB from seeking redress. So we recommend that there should be an inclusion to that section, those 2 sections of the law, that allows that the complaint in case of an indigent person should be referred to the legal counsel, that's the Nigerian Legal Aid Council. We also, in our memorandum, have a recommendation that has to do with the rights-based support for treatment for people affected by TB. We note that the issue of TB has other underlying social issues, which can include access to medication, transportation to the doc centers, and we recommend that there should be an inclusion of nutritional support for persons affected by TB, and also a form of support for welfare support to aid them to transport themselves to blood centers to receive their treatment. So in so doing, we recommend that such responsibility and the funding for that should be under the Ministry the Department of Social Welfare and Nigerian Services. Also, we have another item on our memorandum that has to do with with the equality and non-discrimination of protection of persons affected by TB. We know that the law as it is addresses a lot of the variety of rights. However, we're proposing that there should be uh, there should be a clarification of terms, especially as regards to TB status as stated in the law, in the bill that is being considered, and also uh, the issue of perceived stigma. We understand that the present bill has some sections that has to do with punishment for issues of violations. We want to ask that the committee should look into those sections and see that the punishment sections is in tandem with the actual violations being considered or being criminalized. Also, we have uh, on the issue of labor rights and accommodation and protection for persons affected by TB in their employment. We know that Section 21 of 1 also limits the issue of workplace policy obligations on employers with 5 or more employees. We see that this section will, in a way, limit or the employers that will be responsible or can be held responsible under this clause. So we urge this committee to remove the specification of 5 or more employees to make it accessible to all employers, and this issue should be affecting all employers of labor in Nigeria and not only limited to employers that have 5 or more employees. We also have an issue here that has to do with protection of vulnerable and marginalized communities. We note that there's staggering cases of childhood TB. So we urge that the provision of the law should address the issue of childhood TB and also the issue of consent from persons, from parents, or from caregivers of children having TB, and also to address the issue that will prevent them from any violations in their schools, especially. We'll recommend that the bill should include a dedication provision for children affected and also to be in tandem with the Child's Right Act of 2023. Also, on the issue of confidentiality, disclosure, whistleblowing protections, and safeguarding measures, we recommend that Section 28, which prohibits persons who have suffered discrimination, that section has protection for persons to report violations. We want that there should be protection, safeguarding protections for persons who make reports, especially for reports against federal institution and government institution, that at the end of the day, they will not be victimized in case of such reports. We would say in conclusion that this bill is in tandem with international human rights law, particularly the Declaration of the Rights of Persons Affected by TB, which is an international instrument. So we would say we're in support of this bill. We pray this committee to amend the bill to be in tandem and reflect the amendment where all stakeholders suggested, and we hope to receive the final bill passage. Thank you, Honorable.